Welcome back. It's a quiet Saturday afternoon and I'm out for a ride in the countryside on the quiet roads, which is one of my favourite places to go. And I thought it was a nice time to start a video I've been meaning to make about what I carry on the bike and what kind of things are useful to have with you on every ride. Before I got the bike, I was curious about how much space there was under the seat and what kind of things you could fit. So I'll show you what I've done and I hope it's helpful. Behind the little windscreen here, there's just enough space to stow a cloth for cleaning your visor, and inside there we've got a bit of visor cleaner wrapped up. We all like a nice clean visor on a ride. So that wedges in there quite nicely. Let's have a look under the seat. Right, let's have a look. There's just a bit of paracord here and a tissue for checking the oil, because why not? The main toolkit's under the seat here. I'll show you what's in there in a sec, but first of all, the other parts are, we've got the puncture repair kit that we've looked at before. Inside here, apart from the repair plugs that we saw before, we've also got the tyre inflator with the CO2 cartridges. There's 3 of these in here and I reckon that's probably enough to fill up the tyre. But I've also got a bike pump. Believe it or not, you can pump up the whole rear tyre with this. I have tried. If you just want to put a little bit more air in there on a long trip, that's helpful. Or you're never going to run out because you've always got this. That actually just fits in there fine and the seat will still close. The other thing in here that's really handy is the cargo net. This one's from Oxford, because it just scrunches up small and fits in there the whole time. You've always got it with you, but you can fit pretty much anything under here. If you've got a bit of luggage, or you've bought something or a parcel, or you need to stow an extra layer on the seat and you haven't got the top box with you, it's easy to wrap around anything and stretch and clip the hooks onto any part of the bike really. So always have one of them under the saddle. That's really convenient. Okay, this is the important bit. The Maxpedition Fatty pouch is tucked under the seat here, and I'll show you how I fitted it first. From the factory, the seat had these plastic bits sticking up, which I just cut off with the Dremel to make it easy to fit in, and then I've just screwed some screws into the side here and a bit of red elastic to hold it in place. So I'll take this inside to show you everything that's inside the pouch, because there's quite a bit there. On the front here we've got the phone charger, it just fits in the mesh pocket. It's usually on the bike, to be honest, but that's a good place when it's not. Starting with lighting first, we've got the Nebo little Larry, which is really handy to have on the bike because it's got a magnetic base, so you can stick it to the petrol tank and makes just a general floodlight area, which would be very handy hands-free for working on something. But it's also got the flashing red light, which would be very good in an emergency. If you're in the dark, stuck by the side of the road, one of the biggest dangers is of someone else crashing into you. So you can stick this on the bike pointing back towards the traffic, or even lie it on the road and keep you much safer. Also got a head torch, the Nebo Micro. If you haven't used a head torch before, I know it makes you look like a bit of a plonker, but they are so convenient to have your hands, both your hands free, while you're working on something, with the light always shining at what you've pointed your head at, which is what you want in an emergency to work on the bike. I like a USB rechargeable light as well. No messing around with batteries, just plug it in every so often and it's kept topped up. Moving on to tools then, the philosophy is not to have a mobile toolkit that has everything you could ever need to help anyone else, but to have the tools you need for your bike specifically. So on my bike, the only sockets we've really got are 8, 10, 12 and 14, unless you're going to start taking the rear axle off, and I might want to carry a bigger wrench for those. But those are the only 4 nut sizes I've got, so that's all I'm carrying. Plus an adapter for screwdriver bits. This L-shaped 1/4 inch handle is really handy because you've got a good bit of torque to loosen a nut. You can also use it end on screwdriver style. We've got a 1/4 inch extension here in case you need to reach a deeper screw or bolt. And then for screwdriver bits, the Honda is a Japanese bike, so it doesn't have any hex bits at all. We've only got actually JAS screwdriver bits, and it just made sense to carry the posi and flat drive as well. But with no Allen keys, I'm not carrying a set of Allen keys because I don't need them. Also got the Knipex pliers wrench in the small size, which is handy for miscellaneous nuts and bolts, and also acts as a really neat pair of pliers for gripping things or twisting wire or something like that. And a cheap multi-tool, cheap one, because if I had a Leatherman I wouldn't keep it on the bike where I rarely use it, the nice ones in my desk drawer. But this pair of pliers is always handy for wire and cutting things, and the extra blades as well. For general fixing and mending and improvising things, we've obviously got cable ties. Some micro cord I'd recommend. It's like paracord, only thinner. So it's just like a really strong string. It wouldn't take your body weight, but a few turns of it probably would actually. So that's very compact, easy to carry. And some bits of wooden drink stirrers from McDonald's. I can't tell you how many times these have helped out for stirring something, or scraping something, or picking something out of something, or you could split it in half and use it as, I don't know, a toothpick, or I've even used one to twist a screw lightly when I didn't have to do it all the way. We've got a pair of scissors and a glue stick and a lighter. If you can't carry a whole glue gun with you, you can melt a bit of glue on the lighter, and that works pretty well. We've got a bit of Gorilla Tape and a bit of gaffer tape just bunched up there. Always comes in handy. A Sharpie or thereabouts, just a little mini one. I couldn't resist this pocket-sized pen from True Utility. You just pull the end off there, and that's a decent pen to write with. This, believe it or not, is a magnifying glass. It's a Fresnel lens, so you could use it to get a splinter or see something tiny or read some tiny writing if you've forgotten your glasses. Here's a paracetamol and a Benadryl for the hay fever. And an emergency blanket. These are super cheap and takes up almost no space, but it could make all the difference in an emergency. They're also so cheap and disposable you could give it away to someone if you stop by the side of the road and someone's freezing cold. You could probably also use it for a lot of other things. You could kneel on it to stop yourself getting soaking wet or filthy if you were kneeling down by the bike. What's in the front here? Actually just got a list of everything that's in there so I can check and replace anything I've used. A few tissues and just some lined paper for making notes or leaving a note for someone. And in the back here we've got some flat stuff, some antiseptic wipes for first aid and some wet wipes. We've got some gloves, so in case of first aid emergency, or if you really don't want to get your hands dirty, you could use those. Some fabric plaster strips are really handy because you can cut them to any size you need. These are some wound closures, so they're kind of like strong strips to hold the edges of a bigger wound together if you've got a cut that's a bit too big for just a plaster. I'm not carrying a bandage or anything, but that can make all the difference and stop the edges of the wound pulling apart. We've got some paper clips and safety pins in there. And then this is a needle and sewing thread. Just the thread's just wound up on a bit of lolly stick and taped down with some tape there. Ready threaded, obviously, ready to use. I'm probably not going to do any sewing in an emergency, but it takes up no space, so it's easy to carry. I think that's it. Now I've just got to put this little lot back. I hope you found that helpful. Thanks for watching.